That would be helpful.
I mean, I'm allowed to buy some. I've been at a funeral all day. Just got off an airplane.
I mean, I'm hoping to use my account this time.
Yeah.
Buy stuff.
My mother-in-law.
I mean, I'm a contractor. So I'll
Well, she's
set
gonna
the
get it.
account.
Yeah. But they used to have. Oh, she's fine. Architecture license? Yeah, to get an architecture license or horticulture license. No, we got some special gifts.
KBK?
No, I go direct to the.
I saw Jordan Brown was KBK to trade.
Well, they did. Yeah, there's two Austin guys that moved to San Diego because he got so busy.
You get rid of all those metals.
Yeah, I tried to. I've got a staff meeting tomorrow. I'll take it and put them out.
Okay.
You know, that kind of stuff.
Thank you all for coming. It's now 5:30. I'd like to open the City Council meeting for Monday, April 13th, 2026. If you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Item 1, I move for approval of the minutes for March 23rd, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Announcements. Our first announcement before I introduce our distinguished guest tonight, it was many years before I realized why the king is always smiling. And then I realized he had no real jurisdiction to make difficult zoning decisions. But on a serious note, I want to thank y'all. For those that you aren't familiar with the organization, they do a tremendous amount of work. They make hundreds of appearances to make thousands of kids smile, and they raise a lot of money for charitable causes. I now take great honor to introduce an old friend of mine and our King 103, Gardner Peavy.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. To introduce my castle that's with me, my executive aide, Ben Azar, my night aide, Will Caruth, my day aide, Kenny Dorbant, and the commander, our leader of our whole organization, Mr. Greg C. So the last time I was in here was with my kids, and I don't want to come back anymore. But you're right. We did, 7 schools today. This is our kickoff to all this, and we're going to visit 430 stops, not that many schools, but that many stops. And we've been around for 100 years, so a long time. Not quite as long as Alamo Heights, but 1926. But we're really proud of our foundation. I'm glad you brought that up. So to date, it's been about $25 million that we've given away to children's charities. And this year, we're going to do $3 million. And our beneficiary is Breckenridge Park and a huge playground. So we're very excited about that. And I have some gifts for y'all, but the main point of being here is to kick off Fiesta. Thanks for letting us take time on other agendas that you have. And Mayor, you're a great friend of mine. Thank you very much. And we got 2 fantastic real estate people in the room. Makes me happy. So pass out some gifts.
Before you give, let me give you, Gardner, a golden key to the city, but there's a problem. We ran the record and there's a warrant. Buddy, do you have the authority to waive that? Okay, the city manager has waived it, so here's the key to our city.
Does this apply to my whole family?
Don't get this on tape.
Special one.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming. Under announcement, second announcement, the Fiesta Medal, Jennifer. Jennifer's not here, so Elsa, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Yes, so to follow King Antonio, we do have our City of Alamo Heights Fiesta medals. They are available as of today, and those are exclusive to our residents. So anyone can come in and pick up 2. It's 2 per household, and they're pretty festive. There they are. So again, it's per resident and 2 per household. 1 per resident, 2 per household, but those are available now. So come and get your Fiesta medals.
Thank you, Elsa. Moving on to National Telecommunication Week, April 12th through the 18th, 2026. Cindy Pruitt?
Mayor, Council. This week kicks off National Telecommunicators Week. They are celebrated nationally every year since 1994. And during this week, we honor them as the real first responders. They are the first ones that anybody talks to in the case of an emergency. And we like to honor them for their excellence. This year, in 2025, our dispatchers have handled 40,714 calls for service with data entry, and 911 calls, 4,106 received and processed. They have provided life-sustaining instructions to the callers, including child delivery. They operate 6 channels locally, and they have the ability to patch into other channels with our other agencies. San Antonio, we can patch in with them. In the Texas National Database transactions, they processed 41,190 transactions. This includes running stolen vehicles, criminal histories, a number of different things. They also monitor the surveillance cameras for the city complex, as well as Cambridge Elementary and Alamo Heights High School. They are true multitasking professionals, and this week honors them.
Thank you. Cindy, don't go too far. National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, April 25th, 2026.
Yes, sir. The police department will be participating in the National Drug Take-Back, sponsored by the DEA. You can bring all of your expired, unused, unwanted drugs to the police department on April 25th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It'll be out in the back at the rear entrance of City Hall. The only exceptions due to the risk of injury are uncapped syringes, EpiPens, or other injectable devices. We can't accept those, but all the drugs and over-the-counter stuff can be accepted.
Thank you.
Sir.
27th Annual Pooch Parade, Saturday, April 25th, 2026. Letty?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As a reminder of the upcoming annual event with the Therapy Animals of San Antonio, it's scheduled for Saturday, the 25th. Route is as in previous year, beginning and ending at the Alamo Heights Pool. You'll see setup and start and end times. This is actually a new event, an inaugural event for St. Peter's Church. Due to the cancellation of the Alamo Heights night, they're wanting to do this event at their church. It does not involve any street closures of any type. It'll just be on site. It is scheduled for Sunday, the 26th. It's 112 Marcia, setting up at 10, start at 11:50, and ending by 3:30. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Elsa. I'm sorry, Letty. I mean to ask Elsa, do we have any special guests, citizens to be heard that are not here for anything on the agenda? Okay. I'd entertain any comments on the consent agenda. If not, I'll look for a motion.
Citizens to be heard?
I just asked, there was none.
Oh, you said special guest.
I'm sorry, citizens to be heard as well. I'm sorry.
Special too.
Special guest is gone. Are there any citizens here to be heard that don't have an item on the agenda? Now, thank you. Any questions on consent items? If not, I'll look for a motion.
Mayor, I move approval of the consent agenda, which includes items 4 through 7.
All in favor? I mean, a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Thank you. Items for individual consideration. Elsa, for the records, on public hearing number 8, it's Kristen Robeson. It's not Robinson, just for the records. There's no N in there. Thank you. Public hearing, planning and zoning case number 466, a request by Jessica Berry, applicant on behalf of Kristen D. Robeson, owner, to replat the properties identified as CB Block 4024, Block 160, Lot West Irregular 134 foot of 1, also known as 316 Lahara Boulevard, and CB 4024, Block 160, Lot West 75 feet of East 125 feet of 1, also known as 536 College. Thank you, Letty.
Thank you, Mayor. The properties in question are Zone Single Family A on the east side of Lahara at the intersection of College. This replat would combine 2 existing lots into 1. This is the front view of the Lahara property. Straight view for 536 College. You'll notice here, this is a survey of each individual properties, kind of put them together so you could see what the ending result would be. On the left, you'll see 316 Lahara, and on the right, 536 College. Replat establishing on the left, so final results. If you look on the right, the area identified in blue is basically what would become now front yard setback area for the entire property. So College would become side, Lahara would remain front. As far as lot width and lot area, the proposed does meet the minimum requirements. Approval by CPSOs and Public Works is required prior to staff releasing it for recordation. With the main structure that is currently located on the College property, they would need to remove all cooking appliances with connections to eliminate the main structure classification. Our department would need to conduct an inspection to confirm that that has been completed. The Commission, Planning and Zoning Commission, did consider the request at their regular meeting of April 6th and voted unanimously to recommend approval of the replat as presented. Public notice was mailed to property owners within a 200-foot radius, posted on the city's website and on the property. In addition, legal notice was included in the San Antonio Express News. We did receive 2 responses in support and 1 in opposition. That concludes my presentation, Mayor.
It is now 5:42. I'd like to open the public hearing. Is the applicant here?
Good afternoon. I'm Jessica Berry. I work at Pape Dawson. I'm representing the client, the owner. I just would like to inform you that she has removed the cooking appliances and is just pending the inspection.
The reason for the cooking appliance removal is they're anticipating that to be an ADU. It does meet the requirements of the location of it, and without the cooking, the stove and the oven, it qualifies as an ADU. Okay, anybody here speaking? Thank you. Don't go too far in case. Is there anybody here speaking on this case? If not, it's 5:44. I'd like to close this public hearing and move on to item 9. Discussion and possible action on planning and zoning case 466, a request of Jessica Berry, applicant on behalf of Kristen D. Robeson, owner, to replat properties identified as CB 4024, Block 60, Lot West Irregular 134 feet of 1, also known as 316 Lahara Boulevard, and CB 4024, Block 160, Lot West 75 feet of East 125 feet of 1, also known as 536 College Boulevard. Any discussion?
Mayor, I have a couple of questions for staff. the comment was made that that the building, the current residence, which is on the property along Lahara, would become an accessory dwelling unit, or is it accessory structure?
So the main structure facing Lahara would act as the main structure. The structure that faces College would then become an accessory
Accessory
structure.
structure, but not a, okay. So, and there's an existing structure on there now?
Yes.
The main structure, right, it would be basically removing the cooking appliance, anything that has, if the structure has cooking appliance and heat, it is classified as a main structure. So combining the two lots into one, if the
It
cooking
can't have
appliance.
two residents on the same lot.
Right, correct.
So that the College address is going to be an accessory structure, hence,
Right, with the replat, actually, we would eliminate the College address, so it would all be readdressed to Lahara.
okay. Thank you. Are both of these lots, this is going to make one large lot, so we're,
That's correct.
okay. And this, and it meets the setbacks across for the accessory structure as well?
Yes, sir. Mhm.
Okay.
A minimum of 3 foot is required.
Okay, that's all I have, thanks.
If I
Go ahead.
could, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No.
Mayor. I'm a little unclear as to what's the end goal here?
They are wanting to use both properties as one. So could they use them as one without replatting them? Yes. But they're wanting to use they own both and they just wanting to combine them. Not combining them would not prohibit them from using both as intended.
Yeah.
The only thing is that,
Well, what is the intended use?
So I've met with the owners. They're intending to use the back house as a pool house to the pool that they recently installed. So the main structure will face Lahara. The house minus the kitchen will become the auxiliary, and it's going to be used as a secondary back house for the pool.
Okay.
Carl?
Yeah, Lydia, I just had a question.
Yes, sir.
Just in the future, is it possible that could be do the existing lots, both of them meet standards so that property could be replatted into 2 lots at some point in the future? I'm just curious.
if they wanted to subdivide in the future, yeah, they could subdivide.
Back to the current.
Right, based on the width and the overall area.
As long as they
Right.
don't add on to not meet the setbacks as they currently do.
Right, we would have to look at that, which is actually, we did look at those things when they first approached us about combining both lots, which is why they provided the surveys.
Any further questions?
Move approval, Mayor.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. Moving on to item number 10, public hearing, planning and zoning case 468. A request by MBC Engineers, applicant on behalf of Mule Ventures LTD, owner to replat the properties identified as CB 4024, Block 150, Lot 8, and CB 4024, Block 150, Lot 8, also known as 633 Broadway Street.
Thank you, Mayor. Location of the property is on Broadway, zoned B1. This is currently where the Papa Noel Christmas tree sale goes every year. Okay, this is a replat to establish one lot with two current existing. This street view from Broadway at the top and Inslee on the bottom, which is currently vacant. You'll see current conditions on the left, establishing on the right. With regards to zoning, there is no minimum lot area requirement for property zone business district. There is a minimum 75-foot lot width that is required, and so they do meet that. Approval by CPS and SAWS is required prior to staff releasing for recordation. Public Works has provided a purveyor letter to the applicant. Future development on this property would be subject to plan review to ensure compliance with current zoning and building code regulations. In addition, design would be subject to preliminary and final architectural review board and council approval. The commission did consider this replat request on April 6th and voted unanimously to recommend approval as submitted. Public notice was mailed to property owners within a 200-foot radius posted on the city's website and on the property. In addition, legal notice was included in the San Antonio Express News. We did receive 2 responses in opposition of this request within the 200-foot radius and none outside of that.
Okay, it is officially 5:50. I'd like to open the public hearing. Is the applicant here? Benji Dresser.
Good evening. My name is Benjamin Dresser, and I am a partner at Fulcrum Development. We are a small family local real estate development company in San Antonio, primarily working in San Antonio and the surrounding smaller municipalities. And we're coming here today to have this property replatted. Currently, there is the line, as Letty mentioned, that is separating the property. And in order for us to be able to develop the intended use, which I will get into, we need to remove the lot line so we could build over the entirety of the property. The intended use here is to build a mixed-use development catering to the community, beautifying the Broadway corridor, and providing wanted and needed retail services, office providers, restaurants, all those types of mixed uses for the community.
Is the upper level office?
Yes, sir. That is the plan.
Is there anybody here to speak on behalf of this case?
Do you have your list?
Yeah, it's not on there. Yes, it is. I'm sorry, it is. Yes. Dan? Yes. Feel free to come forward and give us your name and. Thank you. She gave it to me.
Yeah, I don't know if we're speaking the right time. I mean, we might have to speak later. We live right next door, Inslee, and we've been there for 30 years. We've had our business in Alamo Heights, Adelante Restaurant. We were there for 42 years. Our kids went to school here. We know it's commercial. We know that it's development. We know that's progress, and we've been so fortunate to live next to a green space for 30 years. We just want to have the council look out for us for whatever goes in with drainage, retaining walls, light pollution. We've dealt with it next door with Thai Bird and all that development, and we're worried about parking. You know, where is the parking going to be and where's the dumpster going to be? Because right now, in 30 years, we've never had a flood. We've never had water coming through our property, and that's our concern. And I understand that it's commercial property and it needs to be developed. I mean, that's the way of the world. But we want to have it. You're our representatives, the city of Alamo Heights. Please beware, you know, we're just putting a face on us. That we live right next to it. We're going to take the biggest brunt of whatever happens. And that's all we're here to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? It's now 5:53. I'd like to close the public hearing. Moving on to item number 11, discussion possible action, planning and zoning case 466, a request by NBC Engineering, applicant on behalf of the Mule Ventures Limited, owner replat the properties identified as CB 4024, Block 150, Lot 8, and CB 4024, Block 150, Lot 8, also known as 633 Broadway Street. Letty?
Mayor, just wanted to add that notice of intent is scheduled for the next council meeting on the 27th. In addition, preliminary review will take place on May 19th. So they could, if they have concerns, they can speak to them at that time.
Before we move on, Councilman Jesse, I believe.
Yes, I'll be abstaining from this vote due to business interests.
Yeah, this is only a replat at this point.
And just to approved, or it's gonna be approved by operation of law past the 30 days, so.
Letty, I just had a question on the agenda here. I think there's a mistake. It references Lot 8 twice,
Should be Lot 8 and 9.
8 and 9. I
That's
just want to
correct.
make sure that we did the notices correctly.
I could not say that that was the case.
Okay.
If it was possible that the notice could have been
And I
noticed
guess
as Lot 8
maybe that's
as
a
both.
question for the city attorney, Frank. Is that material in your view? I mean, if we noticed it as Lot 8 and Lot 8 being combined.
Alamo Heights is one of the very few cities that does public hearings for replat by the council. In my opinion, based now on the state legislature, that if you don't approve if they've met all the requirements of your city ordinances, and if it's not approved in 30 days, then it's approved by operation of law without council action. So even though this is an extra requirement of the cities to go through the public hearing process, it's not mandated by state law. So if we don't meet the timeline and they've met all the requirements of the ordinance, it's going to go into effect. Even if we renotice and restart the process, state law doesn't look at that. It's going to give us that strict timeline to approve or not approve.
Based on when they made the application?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Based upon when staff has deemed the application complete and compliant to the ordinance.
I just want to have a comment to the people who spoke, and I appreciate you coming forward and addressing the council. What we're being asked to do today, just if it's not particularly clear, is to create a legal lot using under our subdivision guidelines. As Frank noted, that we have very little latitude. If it meets the requirements of law, then we're really almost obligated to approve it. This is really only dealing with the dimensions of the lot, and so you'll have an opportunity to come back at a later date to discuss the other aspects of it. But thanks for coming. So, Mayor, thank you.
Any further questions? Motion?
Move approval.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Motion carries. Thank you, Letty. Moving on to 12, public hearing request by Romero O. Zapata of Zapata Design Associates, applicant representing JHJ of Texas LLC, owner to encroach in the city right-of-way at the property identified as CB 4050, Block 78, Lot 55, also known as 101 Albany, zoned SFA, for a period of 5 years for the purpose of replacing existing retaining walls. Excuse me.
Thank you, Mayor. This property is zoned single-family A on the northwest corner of Albany and Henderson. This is for a license agreement for retaining walls. Property owner is petitioning to use right-of-way as allowed under 16-104 of the city's Code of Ordinances. You'll see the area in question. It is access off of Albany. They are currently widening the existing driveway there at the front of the residence. As far as the code does allow for staff to calculate based on the Bexar County Appraisal District market values based on those in the area. We calculated at an average of per square foot of $38.63. It is the minimum of, or the greater of 2,000 or 10% of the fair market value. So this would put them at the minimum $2,000 fee. Public notice was mailed to property owners within a 200-foot radius, posted on the city's website and on the property. We did receive one response in support of this request within 200 feet. I believe the applicant is also present.
It is now 5:59. I'd like to open the public hearing. Is the applicant present?
Jeffrey Jaffe, owner, and we're just looking to rebuild and replace the retaining walls currently on the property.
Okay,
Yeah.
pretty simple. Jimmy, did you want to speak? Jimmy Sattel?
I'm Jimmy Sattel, and I live next door to the Jaffes. And I'm the only one that supported this, but whatever they've done a great job. They've improved our neighborhood immensely with a house that Jeffrey owns, plus the new house that he bought that he's fixing up. I support what they're doing. They're doing a great job, and that's the reason I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Anybody else here? It's officially 6 o'clock. I'd like to close the public hearing. Move on to case number 13, discussion, responsible action, request of Romero O. Zapata of Zapata Design Architects, applicant, Representative JHJ of Texas LLC, owner to encroach on the city right-of-way at the property identified as CB 4050, Block 78, Lot 55, also known as 101 Albany Street, Zone SFA, for a period of 5 years for the purpose of replacing existing retaining walls.
Mayor, question. Is this a license agreement? Yes, sir. Okay. It's not agendized as such.
I'm sorry?
It's not agendized as such. It's just granting permission to encroach in the right of way. I just want to make sure that the ordinance specifies that. So.
Has the applicant been informed of license agreements automatically renew? Because he's requesting it for 5 years.
We normally tell them it's 5 years, but of course, I know that's been a concern of council at previous meetings, so if you're wanting to grant for more than that, you can.
I mean,
Frank, can I ask a question? Didn't we amend our code that it was an automatic renewal if we didn't notice?
Yes, sir. It is an automatic renewal.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Yeah, 5 year, you're right, that's correct. Okay.
Just, Mayor, I'm sorry, just, this is a revocable license, so
Yes.
if we decided we wanted to put sidewalks through here, we have the ability to revoke the license.
Right.
Yes, all right, thank you.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 14, Architects Review Board Case 1028F, Significance Review Appeal. Request of Noble, 5901 Broadway, limited owner to request a variance and appeal staff's decision regarding Section 5-134B, demolition review procedures that prohibit separation of the significance and compatibility review process in order to demolish 100% of existing main structure located at 123 Ogden under demolition review ordinance number 1860, April 12, 2010. Lady.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the location of the property zoned Business District 1, north side of Townsend, just east of Broadway. This is for 100% demolition. Significance review is triggered due to the full demolition of the existing structure. Back in 2024, Council revised ordinance to prohibit the separation of demolition from the replacement structure. So they are appealing staff decision. On the left-hand side, you'll see the existing zoning map. That is the property there, Zone Business District. Those in brown are zone multifamily. You'll see a survey of the property on the right. A street view from Ogden, existing conditions. Rear and side views. You'll see Cambridge across the street, area to the east and west of the property. Again, this is an appeal to staff decision due to the change in ordinance. They are appealing to council. A replacement structure is not proposed at this time, so future construction would be subject to ARB and council review and approval. Public notice was mailed to property owners within a 200-foot radius, posted on the city's website and on the property. We did not receive any responses regarding this request.
The applicant, Don, did you have anything to add? Do you want to come forward?
Sure.
Okay.
If anybody has any questions, I guess we were here at your last meeting and we did the, Don Noble, we did the notice of intent, I think, at your last meeting, and really nothing has changed. We're just trying to move forward with to get a demolition permit. And our timing, we're trying to get this done since the intersection's getting ready to be all torn up and the streets torn up and everything closed. We thought this was the perfect time to do that, to get this done at the same time. So that's kind of the purpose of the timing.
Don, are you anticipating in the interim using this lot for parking for your existing center?
Well, I mean, that'd be fine. I don't know what the condition of the lot's going to be, if it's really going to be appropriate for parking, or it may just be dirt, you know.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question, buddy.
Yeah.
Could we, if he doesn't, with his permission for the construction of the Ogden intersection, could we use that lot for temporary parking and staging?
Well,
with the owner's permission?
That's up to Mr. Noble. I mean, we had a high-level just email discussion, but we haven't formally discussed anything yet.
Would that be a zoning, would that be compliant with zoning, though? Because it's, at this location, it's a separate lot, so you can't.
For staging of construction equipment?
No, this is, I'm just saying staging. Typically, Don, I'm asking this because our ordinance, as it sits today, does not allow, obviously, as staff made the recommendation, doesn't allow us to separate significance from compatibility, since you don't have any future plans for that. This may be, if there's a benefit here, I'm trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Yeah. Well, if we could do that to benefit the city and its activities, that would be fine.
I just think that we're going to have, this is an unusual situation. It is a concrete building. He's going to have a slab. We're going to have a beautiful new intersection there. And I'd hate for him to come in after the fact and cause, not intentionally, but just heavy equipment, demolition equipment and dump trucks tearing up a new street and intersection.
Mayor, the least high-level email, I mean, that we have discussed, it was still open, but would not be for staging construction materials, but to potentially allow customers for the center and for Merrick Coffee and everyone else a place to park during
to
this.
alleviate the
because if we,
disruption.
I think there is a benefit to letting this particular case go, because there's a direct benefit to the city and to the Nobles as well, for people to use the shopping center and to be able to park there. And so that's part of what we're doing with the general contractor we're using, or that we're proposing for you guys to consider tonight, is to close the entire street of Ogden off. And so that creates a parking dilemma for the Nobles and for all the business owners there. So to me, this is like a perfect scenario that helps them out, helps the city out, in order to get the whole intersection closed.
You know, regarding Councilman Jacobson's question, we have a parking lot requirement. Can we issue the right as a temporary parking structure for his customers to be able to park there that don't meet it's not zoned for parking?
May have been different for the school, but I believe the school district did the same thing.
Okay. I mean, I think it's a wonderful use. I think we ought to take advantage of it. I think it's the right thing to do. I just want to make sure that we're within our bounds to do it.
Right.
Right.
I mean, temporary staging does not need a zoning change. It's not a permanent change to the use of the property. So if the property owner and the city get an agreement as to utilizing this for temporary, it might require an agreement with regards to that. I'm sure the property owner is going to make sure that if there's any damage, the city's going to be responsible for that.
Well, I
and
think
everything else,
I think we're now moved on to
the parking.
Like Merritt Coffee, you're going to lose some parking spots during when we're doing.
We're going to
our
barricade some of his parking to construct the new intersection. I think, as
They can have
Buddy's high level
employees.
has been, to allow them to make up parking in this particular lot on a temporary basis while the construction is underway.
My concern, just to further, is like, it's not a parking district, it's a separate lot, so it's not I mean, I assume it's a commercial zoned lot, but maybe not. It's as a separate lot, it's would be considered a off-premise parking lot, and so I was just raising the question of how do you even permit that without fully paving and landscaping and meeting the compliance of the zoning district, unless there's a special allowance or variance from the code to allow that to occur. I think it's a great idea, but I'm just,
How do we do
this legally?
In my opinion, it would require council to set the parameters for the temporary use, which means it would have to come back to council for approval for that temporary use, because so we can set up the parameters as to how long, the length of time and so forth for such use.
We can't just tack on a tacit approval and Buddy can figure it out.
Yeah, you could authorize the city manager to negotiate and do that.
Seems like that would be the simplest.
Yeah.
If we can.
As long as it's got council approval and authorizing the city manager to develop and work on those parameters.
Is that permitted under an ARB case, though? Like, is that extending beyond the posting?
Bunch of legal.
Yeah.
I guess, like, does
No,
it really require council action? I mean, I think you may want the council's blessing, let's say, but it's not a zoning change.
It's not a zoning change.
Right. I mean, I see it's just like an accommodation being made as a result of a construction project ongoing. So, I mean, I would be supportive of it. I don't think to come back and notice and do the hearing for that, unless it's necessary. I'm not even sure exactly what we're doing.
Well,
Like,
I think Councilor Jacobs is correct. It would not be appropriate for this item to talk about that, but the very next item is the construction. And as part of the construction is to authorize or direct the city manager to.
I'll move for approval.
Any sec? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thanks, Don.
Absolutely, thank you.
Item 15 on the agenda, discussion and possible action on a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for general construction service for Broadway and Ogden lane improvements. Phil?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. The item before you would be the city has been seeking construction services for Broadway and Ogden lane improvements. We've been working on this for a number of years now, and we're proud to bring this before you this evening. The improvements would realign the intersection. That would provide a mid-block crossing for safe passage across Broadway and Ogden. Include patio and plaza space, and feature pedestrian features for safe pedestrian access in the area. The item before you is proposing a best value contract with Easy Bell Construction. We found them to be the best value of the two bidders that we received for this item. As mentioned, the city is proposing to construct a pedestrian intersection improvements at Broadway and Ogden. This project was conceived back in 2023 with conversations with TBG, who was kind of our landscape architect that we worked with at the time. They led several council workshops on potential beautification projects in the city, of which this one was identified. We have contracted with WGI, who's the project engineer, for design and engineering of this project. And again, TBG has provided input on the landscape design for the proposed improvements. The left image on the left is kind of aerial, non-detailed of what would be proposed. Again, it would be realigning the intersection where there's only one egress and ingress entry point. Again, realign the intersection. It'd be pedestrian focused with a mid-block crossing, pavements and lighting. Wider sidewalks, provide patio and plaza space on north and south sides of the intersection, and then provide some landscaping as well as stormwater elements to allow for sheet flow that goes through this intersection. The following is existing site conditions. On the left to the south, you see one entry point, and then you see another entry point in the middle of the screen. The following is a rendering of the proposed improvements. Again, eliminates the entry point to the south and puts the intersection at a 90-degree angle with Broadway. You have a plaza to the south of the intersection that is mainly allows for stormwater elements. It's kind of like a creekway that allows water to continue to flow south down the hill. There's also a crossing, a mid-block crossing from that south patio, or south plaza rather, that crosses Broadway. And then you have the patio to the north of the intersection that abuts up to the Nobles property, who spoke up here a moment ago. This is more or less the same image, but with some of the landscaping features added, as well as it puts in there the kind of the sheet flow and stormwater elements that flow through this area. The city issued an RFP for general construction services in February. We received proposals back in the middle of March. The proposal was for a best value guaranteed maximum price procurement. We received 2 responses that met the minimum qualifications. One was Jordan Enterprises for an amount of $1.3 million, and Isabel Construction provided the second bid for $1.49 million. All of the responses were evaluated according to the criteria that was listed in the RFP. Project cost was half the points that were allocated, and then the remaining points were for relevant qualifications and experiences and the project team that the bidders had compiled. Shortlist interviews were conducted by our city review panel of both bidders to better understand their ideas and proposed solutions for this project. Those interviews and the overall submission yielded recommendation that Isabel Construction would be the best value to the city to provide this project. We are proposing this evening a best value guaranteed max price and a not to exceed amount with Isabel, an amount of $1.44 million. The price has been adjusted from the original bid based on some scope discussion during the interview. We are also proposing an owner contingency of about $58,000, or $58,000. Sorry, $58,000. So the total project amount would not to exceed $1.5 million. Lawson, no sir. And in terms of the timeline, if council is to proceed with a selection tonight, contract execution and project deployment kickoff would be anticipated in the coming weeks. We're hoping that this project can commence as soon as school lets out. Cambridge Elementary is immediately adjacent to this property, and so we have set a May 26th start date, which would be the first working day after the last day of school. The vendor Isabel has proposed that they can get this project largely done by the beginning of school, and so that's one of the main considerations for us to proceed or recommend them or propose them. That is with in a perfect world, if the weather agrees during this summer. The assumption would be that this timeline assumes, as discussed earlier, that the intersection of Ogden and Broadway would be closed to traffic, vehicular traffic during the time of construction. So once school lets out, the intersection in Ogden would be closed for the duration of the project. And also pedestrian traffic would be diverted around the area at that time. There is a bus stop, but that would also be temporarily relocated to allow for VIA customers to continue to travel through this area. This proposal is consistent with the city's interest in professional expertise and key infrastructure. We are proposing that the city selects the most qualified, best value firms to perform the services that we are needing. And this is consistent with the city's providing quality public spaces and maximizing safety opportunities benefiting our citizens and residents. This has been a team effort for over many years, but this is kind of a short list of the people who have really been involved in this project. Mayor Honningbloom, Councilmember Jesse, obviously our continued support from our project engineer, WGI, and our landscape architect, TBG, Public Works Director, City Attorney, and our City Manager have also provided continual input on this effort.
And Assistant City Manager.
Thank you, sir. So the item before you would be proposing an agreement to authorize the city manager to enter an agreement with the with Easy Belt Construction for the improvements to Broadway and Ogden Lane. The guaranteed max price with Easy Belt would be for an amount of $1.44 million. The city would retain an owner's contingency of $58,000 for a total project not to exceed amount of $1.5 million. Funds are currently budgeted in the FY 2026 Comprehensive Plan Fund budget for this project. And with that, that concludes my presentation. I would want to say that we are joined by our WGI engineers, Jeremy Dagey and Josh Allen, should you have any specific technical questions.
Frank and Buddy, this is where we can give Buddy further authorization to negotiate with the Nobles?
Yes, sir.
And should that be included in the motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'll take a shot at that motion, Mayor.
Okay.
So I move approval of.
Wait, hold on. Is there any, Carl, do you have any questions?
We want to have discussion.
Well, you want to put the, you want to hear the motion first? Either way, I can wait.
Yeah, well, I just had a question. It might relate to something you put in the motion. I just want to ask a question about timing.
Sure.
Because I think that's important. And what are we going to have in terms of contractual remedies, you know, vis-a-vis the contractor? I mean, I know they've said they're going to get it done by the time school starts, but how are we planning to enforce that?
Well, the actual contract, when it was let, I believe carried for a construction time of 207 days. Is that correct, Jeremy? Yeah. I believe that was correct.
Yeah.
240 days.
Carl's asking about liquidated damages.
Yeah.
I mean, just what do we have other than them saying that, you know, because I just think that's pretty common, you know, contractors tell you they're going to get stuff done, no offense, but, you know. I mean, actually.
You look straight at me.
You might be the exception. I don't know. You tell us what because I fear that, you know, we're going to have that intersection torn up, school's going to start, and it's going to be dragging out, and we just want to make sure we're prepared for that.
Well, I believe we are. I mean, so both bidders bid on a contract construction time of up to 240 days, which would be like the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Easy Bell was the one that came in with a plan to say, look, if we can close the entire street, we believe that we can be substantially complete, which was the target, which was our pre-con meeting, that the intersection had to be open, because we're working with the school district on this too, because it's important to them for school buses. And so to have the street work, all the curb work, the intersection work, the cross arms, which we have ordered for the new pedestrian crossing, Easy Bell really sold us on, hey, look, we will be done with the street work. So there's no liquidated portion for them saying we can be done by August, because it wasn't in the contract. It wasn't bid that way. They were bidding on 240 days. So they're saying we could get inside the curbs. Easy Bell, we have worked with them before. They have a solid reputation for delivering. They also came in with plans of pedestrian fencing. They had really done a deep dive on looking into how everyone would be affected, getting pedestrians to the business and so forth. That was without being asked. And so we felt confident in that based on their local history, work history, and everything else, that they could deliver at least to get the curbs and everything else. But that wasn't a requirement. The requirement that we had up front is that, hey, at least have the curbs done. They're saying they think we can be almost completely done with everything. So liquidated damages by the time school starts, it's not in the contract.
It wasn't in the bid proposal, so it'd be a little, or the bid requests, the RFQ or RFP. So it'd be a little bit of after the fact. If we said, hey, could we go ahead and add liquidated damages, they might change their fee based on that. rightfully so, because it changes the risk element to it. I would agree that Easy Bell has a really good reputation. But to your point, we need to put something
I guess
into
I'm just
the,
concerned that it's like, it seems like we have no, anything.
we have
other than-
no recourse,
Yeah.
like come August 1st, or whenever the school starts. When does it start? I don't know.
And it's obviously a detrimental term to the contractor. So I mean, I don't think that it's a problem that it wasn't in the bid legally. I get what you're saying. I mean, I'm just asking, I haven't been involved, so like, just a concern. And it'd be
Yeah,
nice to
we,
have some-
we share the same concern because the school district obviously has a huge concern as well. So, that was, again, in the pre-con meeting, that was not mandatory, they were there, it was expressed during the interview process. We just said, you understand the time frame, and they said, they're the ones that came and said, look, if you'll let us close the entire intersection so we can get all the site work done, get all the asphalt down, get everything done. We didn't have that from the other vendor, like a real plan. We believe the other vendor is well qualified, but they said, we believe that your scope of work on time is acceptable. We agree to do it in that time, which is the 240 days.
Well, I guess like to that point, I mean, their bid was, I think, 140,000 more than the other, and we selected them because it sounds like primarily based on our confidence in their ability to deliver on time. I just think having something in the contract that like holds them to that in a reasonable way is a good idea, I think. I mean, and I think in the context of us awarding the contract to them despite them bidding more, I think it's defensible.
I would, Carl, I would agree with you. I think one thing we could do that might not be as, maybe swap the fee up a little bit, but I think what we could do is write into the contract language, you know, if the curbs aren't done, basically if the intersection isn't utilizable by school start of August, whatever that date is, they pretty much have to go to after hours and maintain an intersection throughout that process, because that not working during a school year will be disastrous. So they
Agree.
If they at 3 months,
yeah.
they should be able to get it. If they're working in the courtyard
Yeah, I
area,
don't think it's a problem if they're still doing work. I just think
Behind the curbs.
intersection
Right.
needs to be in a state to be open, you know.
Right.
You have that authority, you'll have that authority to negotiate that with us.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll be negotiating that, and the contract has obviously not been done yet.
Right.
So,
So I would encourage to get that in.
That's a fair, you know, not switching the goalposts on them too much, and because they know that thing needs to really be,
right,
you know, the curbs have to be working.
right, yeah, they can still be working landscaping and stuff outside the curbs, as long as the intersection's open, I hear you, and
That's
we'll
a
make
good
sure. But they were really focused on that from the get-go, and so I, again, based on projects they do everywhere around here and their past ability.
So I
But
think
I
one
hear
of the
ya.
things, that full shutdown, we could need to put a time limit on it. That would be the way to do it, because that'll be every incentive in the world for them to turn it over, to get all their work done.
I do want to point out that in the draft contract, and this is just the draft, one of the things says that within 10 days after the effective date of the contract, contractors shall submit to engineer for timely review a preliminary progress schedule indicating the times, number of days, or dates for starting and completing the various stages of work, including any milestones specified in the contract. So there's things in there, and the preliminary contract also talks about liquidated damages, but doesn't say the amount for being delayed. So in the preliminary contract that Phil sent me does have various provisions of liquidated damages, but it says, you know, damages where you're not meeting the milestones or scheduling. So that's still all as.
So if that's the way we want to do it with LDs, I mean, however, I think you can negotiate, but I think Carl's point is there has to be recourse if one of their subs goes bankrupt, you know, in the middle of the job, and they're not performing that, no matter what.
Makes
that
sense. Yeah. We'll make sure. And most of the construction contracts that we've done has a specific date, and then the amount per day after that date that they're delayed.
Okay, there's your damages.
All right.
Want to try it?
Well, I have a question, first of all. So the amount listed on the screen here is the total amount. So this 1.497205 is the max allocation for this project. You will not be negotiating beyond that, right?
That's correct.
Correct.
Not higher than that.
That's what I meant, okay. Well, then, in that case, then, Mayor, if it pleases the council here, that I have a move that the council authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute a contract with Easy Bell Construction for the Broadway Ogden Lane project in the amount of $1,497,205, appropriating funds for same, and authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute an agreement providing at 123 Ogden Lane or nearby property owners to provide temporary accommodations for construction staging and/or customer parking for the adjacent commercial businesses during the street closure project associated with the project.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Good job, Trey.
Thank you all.
Moving on to item 16, discussion and possible action on an ordinance amending the sublease agreement dated effective January 27th, 2020, between the City of Alamo Heights and Alamo Heights Little League Incorporated, releasing 1.46 acres for the from the sublease property. Phil?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The item before you is an amendment to the existing sublease agreement that the city has with Alamo Heights Little League. This would release 1.46 acres from the subleased property. With this proposal, the after effect would be the Little League has a little under 12 acres of land in the Olmos Park dedicated for organized baseball, softball, and fundraising activities. The City of San Antonio, COSA, owns most of the Olmos Basin area. It provides flood protection for this area. There is a long-term lease with the city for recreational purposes of COSA-owned land that's within the Alamo Heights jurisdiction. We sublease that property for purposes of the Alamo Heights Little League, Alamo Heights ISD for their softball and baseball facilities, the Heights Pool, the dog park, and we also have agreements with Friends of the Hondo Creek and the Alamo Heights Bike Park for, again, land that's within this space. The existing sublease was approved with Alamo Heights Little League, was approved in January 2020 for the current premises that are there today. That lease has been extended to February 28th of 2058. February of 2058. It's in the future. The Buddy will still be here, though. And Lawson. So the amendment that's proposed this evening would be releasing from those 13 acres about 1.5 acres of undeveloped land at the corner of Viesca and Alamo Heights Boulevard / Argo from the current sublease agreement. This would reduce the sublease for the Little League to 11.7 acres. There has been a proposal since the draft of the agreement was sent last week. There has been some updates, and the Little League has proposed that the park, if there's so the reason for the 1.46 acres potential park on that corner, if there is not a park constructed within 5 years on that land, per the agreement that was before you this evening, this released land would revert back to the Heights Little League oversight under the sublease agreement. So there does put a timeline on this agreement if a park does not proceed and is not constructed. In terms of policy analysis, the leased property in the Olmos Basin is for recreational use and benefiting the citizens of Alamo Heights and San Antonio. This has been significant coordination between the Alamo Heights Little League, city attorney, and the city manager on this item, as well as Mayor Honeyblum, I should mention. And then lastly, there is no fiscal impact with this proposal. Again, this is just amending the existing sublease for the 1.46 acres, releasing it and reverting. And so the city would be responsible for that space. Any future potential use and associated costs would be items that would be brought to this body for consideration at that time. That concludes my presentation.
Phil, since you and I had the conversation on site, I guess it was Sunday?
Saturday.
Saturday?
Sorry.
Yeah, Trey was running. What day were you running?
Saturday.
Let's all congratulate Trey. He finished first on elected officials in the
That's right. Best time.
5K. He had the best time.
Best time.
Out of us 5.
Out of all state elected officials, I had the best time.
That was part of the agreement when I went to the board on the, that it would revert back. Have you talked to John?
Yes, I've talked to the president of the Alamo Heights Little League, and they're good with the proposal to have that provision.
Mayor, I'm a little unclear, a couple things. So I'm not sure which piece of property this is. There's no graphic or associated with that. And the second thing is this effective immediately? And if so, who's responsible for the 1.46 acres in terms of mowing, cleaning, watering, or just some basic question? I don't have an opposition to this. I'm just curious. I'm not sure what we're approving in terms of the take-backs.
So I'm happy to pass around the exhibit of where it's located.
That's fine. It wasn't in the presentation, so I didn't see it.
That's the corner of Vieska and Alamo.
Oh, okay.
Boulevard, where the cactus garden is.
I can assure you it's never been watered. Except by our water trucks along the perimeter
For the trees.
We would maintain.
And we would be responsible.
Yes.
Until such time.
Yeah.
Yes.
We didn't, Trey, just FYI, we negotiated with the architectural firm that's going to do the design, the schematic, and we did not want to execute that contract until we had full approval and release from the Little League.
That makes a lot of sense, Mayor. Good job.
Anyway. Any further questions? Motion?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Blake Bonner?
Move we adjourn this meeting.
Thank you.